Hey YouTube, Chloe here, and welcome back to the Hypergamous Life. So in today's video, I wanted to unpack and discuss a very underrated but pretty heavy but also overlooked topic when it comes to hypergamy, dating, and marriage, and that topic is men and their mothers, more specifically, the very taboo topic of men who hate their mothers. And this is not fear-mongering. This topic is a pretty important issue for women to unpack and explore, and a very important experience and mindset for women to comprehend, at the very least on a basic level, especially when it comes to the world of dating. So pay specific attention, ladies, because the information in this video can literally save your life, because a lot of women do not understand that there are many men out here who truly hate and despise women. But the rub is men who hate their mothers and men who hate women are usually deceptive Decepticons, and they are very skilled at wearing a mask. But ladies, how a man views his mother and truly feels about his mother, whether she's dead or alive, and yes, people can be very angry with the dead, that broken connection with mommy dearest will color every interaction that he will have with women for the rest of his life. And like I mentioned in the Toxic Mothers video, toxic mothers, hurtful mothers, mentally ill mothers, dysfunctional mothers, narcissistic mothers, mothers who are addicts, and mothers who are emotionally neglectful are very real. And as many of you know, in Black culture, and I have to say this, and many women are triggered by hearing this about mothers, but around the world, Black mothers are gods and deities in the Black community. And Black mothers can literally do no wrong. And because Black mothers can do no wrong, Black mothers are put on a very high pedestal in Black culture. So much so that there are very little to non existent conversations on the damage and the hurt and the pain that toxic and neglectful mothers can often cause their children. So when people think of good mothers, they think of fictional TV characters and fictional TV mothers, right? Like Claire Huxtable and Florida Evans, or tough love mothers and grandmothers like Ruby Johnson from Blackish. And these idealistic and fantasy driven TV moms are mothers who are always fostering togetherness, and are mothers who always make the best soul food, and they're always nurturing, and they are always giving endless hugs, and they are always present to offer up lots of love, affection, and reasonable discipline. But in reality, there are many mothers who are abusive, who are neglective. Some mothers are emotionally violent and passive aggressive and narcissistic. And there are mothers, and this is a very raw truth, who have children but who never wanted to be mothers in the first place. And many of these kinds of neglectful mothers are mothers of little boys, and those little boys often grow up to be very angry and bitter, and they are very misogynistic, and they are usually co-red level insecure. And these men tend to have a very low opinion of women as a result of the abuse and neglect that they've experienced as little boys. Always remember, ladies, that men, just as much as women, are the product of their upbringing and their environment. And if their environment was emotionally neglectful, or they weren't protected, or they were physically abused, or sexually abused, or they were abandoned by their mothers, which is more common than you think, those little abandoned and unprotected boys often grow up to be very hurt and very broken men because of the emotional injuries that they received as children. So when dusty men and highly toxic and narcissistic men come to my channel and they leave the most disrespectful, dismissive, disparaging, and denigrating comments towards women, and the discussions that women are having, instead of minding the business that pays them, I automatically know that they are broken men who are more than likely have some serious unresolved mommy dearest issues. And my spirit was also moved to make this video for women who are putting themselves out there, who are navigating the dating world, and who are trying to catch fish. But there are a lot of women who end up meeting these very damaged and psychotic men who wear a mask and pretend to be the good guy, and then bam, the mask is dropped and it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And yes, some of these men can be very accomplished on paper. And many of these men have money in the bank, which often makes them hypergamously attractive. However, if that man was damaged, or abandoned by his mother, although accomplished, don't get it twisted. He will be very stingy. He will be very ungenerous. He will fight you over a 35-cent pack of gum, and he will not treat you well. And a lot of women get caught up with these Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde monsters because they do not understand the signs of a man who hates his mother. So, ladies, when a man hates his mother, unless he has received some serious therapeutic help prior to meeting you, and most damaged men don't, men who hate their mothers will consciously and unconsciously make you pay the price for what mommy dearest did and never did. And that is the rub. And these damaged and punishing men are normally on a narcissistic spectrum. Their logic is off and they will not care about your feelings, which is the number one red flag of a narcissist. And they are missing more than a couple of french fries from their happy meal. And the red flags of a man who hates his mother is a man who either has a laundry list of crash and burn relationships, or they tend to talk about their exes ad nauseum, and they talk and they talk and they talk about their exes like a dog. So if their inclination is to always pass the potato and to shift the blame and to always assign the reasons of the breakup on their ex-wives and their ex-girlfriends, don't walk, run, because you will certainly become the next victim in line to receive the wrath of his pretzel logic. And sidebar, pretzel logic is a person whose logic and reasoning and reciprocity skills are seriously off. And the experience of pretzel logic is like dealing with a person from another planet. And pretzel logic is a person whose thought process is off the rails in terms of manipulation, projection, and gaslighting. So, I wanted to give my listeners a great hat tip on how to spot these kinds of emotionally injured and damaged men. Ladies, if you're out on a date with a guy, during casual conversation, instead of asking him the fairly common question of, do you love your mom? Do you love your mother? Ask him, how did your mother treat you growing up? Because most men are programmed to say that they love and respect their mothers, even when it isn't true for them. But most damaged men never expect for a woman to ask them, how did your mother treat you growing up? And if he expresses an answer that you aren't comfortable with, like, my mother was never there, or I was raised by my grandmother while my mother was on drugs, or my mother gave me away for crack, or my mother was on crystal meth, or my mom was a prostitute, or my mom drank until she blacked out, or my mom is selfish and all about herself. That is the insight that you will need to make the decision on whether that man is dateable or husband material. So that's all I have to say on this for now. Ladies, the way a man feels about his mother and the way his mother treated him growing up will tell you everything that you need to separate the wheat from the shaft and to proceed with caution. And a lot of women, I need to say this, a lot of women believe that they can overlook a man's negative behavior when it comes to getting the bag. But ladies, do not think that you can somehow ignore the red flags, or that you can somehow have a magic touch that can fix his brokenness, or that your snatch is better than the ex that he can't stop talking about. Don't think for 1 second that you have what it takes to fix brokenness. One, because it's not your job. And two, the more you tolerate self-hating BS, the more he will turn up the temperature and the volume on punishing you for being a woman. So stay tuned for more videos to come, and I will catch up with you in the next one.